We're just getting started. We've had some pretty interesting guests on this show, and today is not going to disappoint. We have a special guest today, Mr. Steve Dunning, aka Steve Styles, and we titled this podcast "From a Passion for Music to Profit, Transforming a Hobby into a Flourishing Enterprise," with none other than aka Steve Styles, who's the president and CEO of Party Time Entertainment. But before I formally introduce you to this gentleman, I want to take you through a history of the disc jockey. Now, the history of the disc jockey is really a fascinating journey that spans over a century. And I just want you to listen to me for a moment. From the beginnings to the prominent role that they play today in the entertainment industry, there's some key milestones. So let's start with the early radio broadcast. And this is from the 1920s to 30s. The concept of the DJ can be traced back to the early radio broadcasting days, where everybody got in front of the radio because it was the highlight of entertainment in the family home. Radio hosts played pivotal role in selecting music for folks to hear. The term disc jockey originally referred to radio announcers who played phonographic radios on the air. Then we moved to the 40s and 50s, the rise of the nightclub. With the advent of sound systems and amplified music, the role of the DJ expanded beyond radio to nightclubs and dance halls. DJs started playing records at these venues, and their ability to read the crowd and select the tracks to keep people dancing was an integral part of the nightlife. And I must say, I was in a nightclub, not in the 40s and 50s. I ain't that old. Then we moved to the 60s and 70s, the advent of the turntable and techniques. The 60s saw an invention of direct drive turntables, which allowed DJs to more precisely manipulate the music. Then we jumped to the 70s and 80s. This is the hip hop and turntablism era. The emergence of hip hop culture from the Bronx in New York led to an evolution of turntablism, a form where DJs use turntables as instruments to create new sounds and new techniques. Grandmaster Flash is one of them. Then we have the electronic dance music era in the 80s and 90s, witnessed an explosion of the electronic dance venue and rave scene. DJs were all over this. Then we moved to the 2000s, 2010. The 2000s brought further advancement in digital technology, leading to the widespread use of digital music files, computer-generated DJ setups. And then finally, the mainstream era that we have now, and I'll call it mainstream integration and diversification. DJs continue to influence popular music, collaborating with artists from various genres, producing hit tracks. The line between a DJ, live performances, and production blurred as technology allowed for a more interactive performance. Now, I'm not done yet, because a lot of folks don't really know what a DJ does. They might think he just does that, but there's a lot of skill that go into it. And as I was doing my research for this podcast, I just want you to think about what makes a good DJ. There are a couple things I want to throw at you. It takes technical skill. Learning the technical aspects of DJing, like beat matching, mixing, using equipment, software, takes time and practice. You got to have a music knowledge. DJs need a solid understanding of music genre, trends, songs. You know, you got a lot of folks that could be a DJ at any genre across. Then you need audience engagement. Just can't be, you know, you have to read and connect with the audience. Their ability to gauge the energy of the crowd and adjust their music accordingly takes experience. They have to perform under pressure. And this was something that was interesting for me, but playing in front of a live audience, especially at larger events, is a high pressure situation because you have to deliver the expected energy. It takes creativity. Crafting a unique and memorable set takes skill. And then we get to a couple more and I'll be done. Equipment and software. As you can see, if you can see Steve right now, he's sitting in front of his equipment. This is not an inexpensive business, and you have to build a brand. It takes time, commitment, and there is competition and continuous learning. And so I just wanted to frame this as we get ready to talk with Mr. Steve Dunning. So let me now introduce you to Mr. Steve Dunning, aka Steve DJ Styles. DJing since the age of 15, Steve lives and breathes sharing his passion for music in the best way he knows how, bringing the party wherever he goes. From an early in his career, Steve has been striving to be more than just a DJ and to do his part to expand the industry in whatever he can. When he's not at his mixer setting the vibe for a special event, he's using his free time to train, to teach, to share knowledge, and to keep helping other individuals to hone their skills. Hosting monthly mix sessions, and Steve, I'd love to hear more about that. He's keeping these new folks coming in. But I want to end you with this. His motto, I think, is killer. Steve is so passionate about every event that he does that his motto is every event is a Super Bowl and timing is everything. Welcome to the show, Steve Dunning. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm doing good, man. I appreciate this. Definitely.
All right.
I love the introduction. I love the introduction, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, as I was doing my research, this is fascinating. And, you know, let's just start here. Tell my listeners a little bit about you. How did you get started? You know, tell them where you come from. You just didn't pop up.
No, I just didn't pop up. I'm originally, from Chicago, grew up in Bellwood, Illinois. In high school, I started break dancing and all of this stuff. But
you were a break dancer?
Yeah, I was a break dancer and a pop locker and all of that stuff. But anyway, I used to listen to my mom and my aunts play music, and I watched their reaction.
Okay.
So, back in the day, we had the component sets. So my thing was, let's line up those records and stack those 45s. When the next one drop, it's a hit, and it's going to keep them dancing. So, I kind of watched them and listen to what they were listening to and watch their reaction. And once I started stacking that, I started creating what they call a playlist.
Okay.
Now, therefore, they didn't have to get off the dance floor. They can keep on dancing. So.
And you were in your teens doing this? This was you were.
Yeah, I was in my teens in my mom's living room playing music for her or my aunts or whoever was at the house and just playing music. And I love music from the beginning anyway.
Okay.
So once I got older, going to high school, it was DJs at my high school. I was shy back then, didn't have the money to really get no equipment. So I started working early. It was DJs. I was envying them, watching them, hone their skills. A couple of DJs started hitting a radio station in high school, which was shocking to me, but very impressive. And then I started, saving my money, getting summer jobs, and finally bought my first set of turntables and a mixer. And then I started DJing in my basement, at home DJ.
Okay. You have a party at your house?
No, I wasn't having parties. I was DJing for myself.
Okay.
My brother and I, we started DJing for ourselves. So, and maybe a couple of friends. That was about it.
Okay.
I didn't have any parties. However, my first party was in a high school friend of mine in their basement. And literally, I didn't have any table to set my equipment on. Okay. So I literally used their coffee table, and I was down on my knees DJing.
Wow.
At their party.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I did it. At the time, I didn't have many records, but, over time, you collect those records and just, build from there.
Okay. And so when did you start Party Time Entertainment?
I started Party Time Entertainment in August of 2008. 2008. Before that, probably 5 years before that, I was working for another company. And I started working at the different clubs and also at the government installations, military.
Okay.
Because I was in the Navy. I did 20 years in the Navy. So everywhere I traveled,
all right.
Yeah, everywhere I traveled, I DJ'd. So once I started working for them, I realized that, hey, on the side, I was doing private events myself. I started building my brand, doing private events. And once I started, they started falling off.
Okay.
The general manager of that facility came to me and said, hey, we're not happy with their services, but we love you. And they were a bigger company, and they was located in Texas.
Gotcha.
They had several contracts, and what I was at the time is their area talent coordinator.
Okay.
So I would coordinate the local talent and then build the venue theme nights from there. Every night had its own theme. We were 5 days a week. I was hiring DJs for different nights, training DJs, and I was paying them out of what that company was paying me.
Wow.
So I started doing that, and I realized basically I'm running my own company now.
Yeah.
So once the general manager came to me and said, hey, we like you, we don't want them anymore. So we want to keep you. So you need to put a bid in for the contract. So I did all of that, put the bid in for the contract. However, at the time I had a non-compete clause.
Okay.
So I had to get out of that. Met with the owner, we had lunch, got out of the non-compete clause. And then I ended up winning the contract. And that was in August of 2008. And I've been rocking that ever since.
There you go.
I still have that government contract to this day. And throughout the years, I just hired, trained DJs, gave guys a chance who they've been sticking with me ever since. And along with that, doing corporate events, weddings, private parties, things like that, clubs and stuff like that. So
Steve, should I call you Steve or should I call you DJ Styles?
Call me Steve. Come on, man. Call me Steve. I answer to them all. That's okay. Call me Steve.
So I'm interested. Since you have this global perspective, would you say that since you've DJed in many countries around the world, which I don't think your competition has done, I don't know, has that given you a leg up? To talk a little bit about has the music scene back then changed in different ports or different countries based on your experience?
It has. I DJed and guest DJed. I mean, I would go to, in the military, go to Japan and, we go to a club and I'd be like, hey, can I get on?
Are you serious?
They'll give me like 30 minutes or whatever. That's about it. Because again, I'm only there for a day or two or whatever.
Okay.
So I'll just go to the DJ booth. Hey, can I get on? They may let me on for a little while. Sometimes they'll say no.
Okay.
Most DJs will say no because they don't want you touching their equipment. One.
Gotcha.
Two, they don't want you being better than them. And then people want you to stay on versus them. So, a lot of times if people let me on, they let me on, being overseas and stuff like that. But being in the military, everywhere you go, you have command functions, you have retirement parties, you have company command picnics, you have people getting married all the time.
Yeah.
Having get-togethers at their house and things like that. So they all needed a DJ.
Okay. So I'm interested here now. And so when I read to the audience the qualities that go into making a DJ, the technical components of it, how do you stay abreast of the different trends that are happening? Because music is always changing. And I would assume you don't do one ethnic group. You do a whole slew of different events. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. When I was in California, I was stationed in California. I had got back into DJing hard, just going hard, getting equipment and stuff like that. I was presented, this guy wanted me to do his wedding.
Okay.
I went to meet him and his bride, his fiance, and sit down and go over a playlist and songs that they want during their wedding. I realized then that I wasn't ready. Because almost every song that they requested, I had never heard of and I didn't have.
Wow.
So back then I went by a friend of mine, Kevin Rogers, a good friend of mine, he's still in California, gave me the name DJ Chief Rocker.
DJ Chief Rocker. Okay.
Chief Rocker. That's what he gave me. After I met with this couple, I went home, started digging into the crates, digging into music, getting into the history of music, and then getting into different genres of music.
Okay.
Because I didn't have the country, I didn't have the alternative, I didn't have the rock, I didn't have the Latin. You know, I was basically collecting music that I loved and the music that I grew up on.
Gotcha.
Right then, at that moment, is when I changed my name to DJ Styles.
Okay.
Because I want to be able to play every style of music. I don't want to turn down an event because I'm not prepared.
Okay.
From that day forward, I was prepared for everything.
So let's peel back the onion. Is it really possible to DJ every type of music event? I mean, country. I mean, there's so many songs out there, and you must have a special ear to just listen to music all the time. How do you approach it?
I follow and I'm a fan of DJs.
Oh,
I follow Jazzy Jeff, Kid Capri. I follow some major DJs. I follow local DJs, Bulu Master, B-Side, V-Dub. They're on the radio. I follow all of these guys. I have DJs that work with me with Party Time Entertainment, DJ Silk, DJ Absolute. My son, DJ Velli, he DJs.
Okay.
He's the young one in the crew. However, he keeps me grounded and keeps me up on all of the new stuff. I listen to these guys. I'm always listening to music. I'm always listening to new artists, whether I like it or not.
Gotcha.
But because I'm not playing for myself, I have an audience that I have to play for, so I have to listen to everything. I've done, throughout my contract with the government, dealing with the military and playing events for them, you realize that there's people from all over the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they come and request all kind of music, so I have to be prepared. It was one point I had a residency. I did a country night every Sunday night for 5 years straight.
A country night. Okay. So
all country. For 7 years straight, I did a Latin night every Wednesday night.
Wow.
All Latin music.
Okay.
You know, my Mondays was an old school night. It was throwback jams. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we get into karaoke and we get into hip hop, R&B, old school, and things like that. But, you know, doing those nights, those country nights, you know, of course, people would see me walk in thinking, okay,
here's a black guy, don't know nothing about country, right?
You don't know nothing about country. But, you know, my whole thing is the shock factor. Go ahead and give it to them, and they'll be shocked, and they'll love it, and they'll enjoy it.
I love that.
So now when I do events and weddings and things like that, I can do them all.
Okay.
You want country? I got you. You want rock? I got you. You want Latin? I got you. You want reggae? I got you.
Got you.
Amapiano? I got you. So many genres out there, but I try to make sure that I'm covered.
You must have a huge music library then.
I do. And it's all, and I build it, it's building weekly.
Okay.
I'm always looking for new sounds, new music, different genres that I can put together, because my whole thing is, again, the shock factor.
Gotcha. So, you know? So let's talk a little bit about, because I want to pivot to the business side of this. You've spent a lifetime honing your craft, getting better. As the business owner, how do you know a good DJ from a bad DJ, and can you work with any up-and-comer who is eager?
Well, just like you mentioned in your introduction, I have a mix session with DJs once a month. Okay. I invite DJs over here, not just people who work for Party Time Entertainment. I invite them. I invite other DJs, up-and-coming DJs who've been DJing for 2 months, DJs who've been DJing for a year. I welcome them all in. We'll have a mix session. We'll share ideas. I have tons of equipment, so I break out all the equipment and they can try it so that they can see if they like it before they actually go out and purchase it.
Okay.
So with that being said, I train them and I tell them in a minute, it's not what equipment you're using. You don't have to buy the best stuff, the top of the line stuff. It's what's coming out of those speakers.
I see. Okay.
Can you read that crowd, and can you make them dance?
Okay.
Can you give them what they came for? Because you can sit here and DJ with a controller about this small. You don't have to have a setup like this to rock a crowd.
Okay.
As long as you know what you're doing, you can read that crowd and you can put that music coming out of those speakers that they're going to fall in love with.
So there's some technical components to this. I mean, because I would assume, like any profession, just because you want to be that doesn't mean that you're good enough to be that, right? So when you get these guys together, I mean, I've seen you rock a crowd. I've been at some of your events, and you do it well, sir.
I appreciate that.
But that's the truth. And as I think about the listening public and folks who are going to be listening to this, who are interested, because one of the things about this podcast, I want to inspire other folks to follow their passions and their dreams. And that's what you've been doing your whole career. And so as you've gotten, talk a little bit about the pivot from being the DJ to now the business owner, where you got multiple events going on at a given day, but you have to rely on folks who may not match your skill set. How do you approach that? Well,
for one thing is when you start this business, you're creating, turning a hobby into a job.
Okay.
Once you realize that you can work it and you can start making money doing it, then you have to turn it into a business.
Okay.
Just because you're making money, that doesn't mean it's a business. I realized and I recognized a while ago that, yeah, it's a job. I'm making money at it. I have people working for me, but I'm also doing it myself. So it's really a job for me.
Okay.
Last year, I had a health scare.
Okay.
I had cancer, and I'm cancer-free now. I'm cancer-free now.
Praise the Lord.
Absolutely. But during that time, during my recovery, I had to depend on my team.
Okay.
Can they keep my business going, and can I step away, and can it flourish without me?
Okay.
And it did. Support, mad support to DJ Silk and DJ Absolute, because they held it down for me. Every event that I had scheduled and planned out, they covered every single one of them while I was out. So then I realized, okay, I can literally step away and just make sure I get the contracts and make sure I do the paperwork and make sure I take care of things and it can run. So then it really is a business.
There you go. I love that. Yeah. I love that.
Then it really is a business. Now, what I realize also is, everybody can't do this, because if you don't love music, if you don't love people, you don't want to be in front of the people, you don't want to connect with people, you don't want to talk to people, because it takes those skills in order to be a good DJ. Because you can have my entire music library. That doesn't mean you're going to be a good DJ. That doesn't mean that you're going to connect with the people. We can play the exact same songs, but everybody's going to play them different.
Are you serious? Well, wait. It's the song. So you mean so the DJ is the difference maker. I love that.
Absolutely. I can set up a song totally different than the next DJ. He could start a song at the very beginning of the song where I might find the break, the chorus, and bring it in there. So the setup is totally different. And the way that you play to your crowd is going to be totally different.
I love that. I never thought about that part of it. As we were talking about the early setup, the technical aspects of it, my hat's off to you. First, I want to tell you how happy I am that you're cancer-free. Praises to God for that one. I know your wife, I don't know if she's listening. I'm she's happy as all get out. So, I'm just happy about that. So I know B is smiling. So, and B is his wife for the listening public. So
yeah, she is my caregiver.
There you go. So, first, I'm happy about that. And so now, do you have plans to grow the business? What do you plan to do? Because you've been with the government for a minute, and that's a great thing. And, what I was going to talk about early is the difference between a DJ, a producer, and a sound engineer. It sounds like you've been doing a little bit of all three of them. And folks may not know what a producer is. A producer is someone who helps to create the song with the artist. And the sound engineer is the person that records it, using the technical aspects of it. So earlier that you said, Steve, that you put these venues together. And so you're kind of like this master craftsman. And so when you think about your business and where you want to go, what are some of your plans for it?
Well, I'm not young.
Well, you look like it. Okay.
I appreciate it. But I try to stay connected. I try to stay, keep people motivated. So everybody that I deal with and I hire, of course, they're all younger than me. Okay. So they keep me motivated. But, I just want to see them flourish. I eventually want to see my son take off, jump into the business even more. I know my limits. I know my lane. And what I mean by that is, when you decide that you're going to be a DJ, you need to know what lane you want to go down. Now, there's some DJs who they want to do every single party and they want to undercut every single DJ.
Got you.
I don't believe in that. I believe in DJs should get paid what they're worth. And we all need to set a standard, whatever your standard is or whatever. But if you're going to undercut every DJ, but again, I tell people you get what you pay for. Okay. You get what you pay for.
And I really believe, as a business owner myself, I'm not inexpensive. And I know you pay for what you get. Now, having said that, let's pivot a little bit to, you have a lot of expensive equipment in front of you. And, we've seen how, when I was in college many, many years ago, there was a turntable. You had the LP, you had the albums. Those have gone by the wayside, but I still see what looks like a turntable in front of you. Talk a little bit about the shift in technology and just for the listening public, so they understand that it's moved to a different kind of technical point.
Well, I mean, of course, we start off with I take it back to cassette tapes. I remember. You're gonna
go way back there, okay?
I'll go back there because my first mixtape was done with two cassettes, dual cassette tapes.
Okay.
I would put a recording side over here and play this side, certain parts of the song, stop the recording, put another cassette in, rewind it or fast forward it to the song that I want, hit play and play that song there. And then by the time, about 3 hours later, I got a mixtape,
Okay.
So then you go into, CDs. You go into the CDJs where you put the CDs into the controller and you can actually manipulate the CDs or whatever, those songs. Then you can go into, before that, the turntable. Let's go back to the turntable.
Okay.
Where the original turntable, and I still have those, the Technique 1200s. I don't take them out anymore, but I still have them. I still have crates of records. But,
those are probably worth a whole lot of money.
They could be, and it's heavy. Yeah. It's time consuming. It's heavy. So I'm kind of glad that, DJing has went in a different direction. Now we have controllers, all-in-one controllers where everything is digital now. So you have your digital files on your laptop and everything, your controllers you can manipulate the music just by your controllers. Okay. That's on your laptop. Then with these right here, these are the size of turntables, the old 1200 turntables. However, there's no needle.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
There's no needle. So now these are controllers as well, but they're life size like turntables, like the original turntables. It gives you that old school feel.
Okay.
For those who are nostalgic and miss that old school feel. Okay. However, and a lot of people love it. Some people who've never DJ'd on vinyl, they don't like it because they're not used to it. But if you're a DJ and you're interested and you're nostalgic, you love the old school and the art form of DJing, you'll get on it and play with it, and you eventually can get used to it. I think that if everyone touched a set of turntables, they'll fall in love.
I bet, because I'm nostalgic, because when I see it, I instinctively think about an album being dropped on it.
Exactly. But with these, you don't have to change the album.
Right.
You don't have to change the album.
Right.
You just load up the next track, and you can control it straight from here. But again, going down the avenue of choosing which lane you want to go down.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to that really quick. A lot of DJs, they'll say, I want to DJ on a radio station. I only want to do weddings. I only want to do corporate events. My whole thing was, I had a family and had kids. I wanted to spend time with them. Gotcha. So I wanted to be able to pick and choose the type of events I wanted to do.
Okay.
I want to be able to control my destiny. So therefore, I can go ahead on and let me go down the corporate lane. Let me get contracts. So I'm always looking for longevity.
There you
something
go.
Something that my DJs don't have to worry about. We're on schedule every single month, all month long.
Okay. And there's a lot of money to be made in this era and in entertainment. So I appreciate you talking about about staying in your lane, because now I understand it. And I hope those folks that are listening understand it too. So let's pull back the curtain. Can you talk a little bit can you share a behind the scenes story that might be memorable, whether it's good or bad? I'm sure you're not going to talk about too many bad things, but have you been surprised? I'm sure you've seen a whole lot when, you're at a party, there's all kind of stuff happening. So you want to share a couple of memorable moments?
Yeah, I can do that. I have a few, like you said, it's a few really bad ones and there's some good ones. One of the things that I'm guilty of is when I go to parties and I listen to other DJs, I tend to critique them. In my mind, I tend to critique them because I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the art.
Okay.
So I critique them. I'm always thinking like, okay, why did they play this song? But, it could have been a request or whatever the case is. But I always understand that someone hired them and they hired them to play at their event or at this club or whatever the case is. So I'll listen to them, and I hear some people that I know that are beginners that probably wasn't ready, but they may have convinced them that, hey, I'm ready to go. And I've had people come up to me and say, you should be doing this, but I wasn't hired to do it.
Gotcha.
And I feel bad for the bride or whomever hired them, and I also feel bad for the DJ because he was put himself in a position, he or she put himself in a position that he wasn't really ready for.
Okay.
So I've seen that. I've seen where DJs expected to get paid at some venues and they didn't. Things weren't going their way, so they literally unplug.
Oh,
everything.
no, that's a kiss of death there.
It's a kiss of death, and they walk out and leave.
Wow.
That's not a good look. They don't secure the contract or payment prior to the event, and then things go left. So I've seen that. I've seen DJs play unedited versions at kids' part of music, at kids' parties, weddings, where grandma, the little kids are not really a fan of that music. So I make sure that that most events I have edited music for every song, so that make sure that nobody is offended or anything like that. So it's I've seen DJs get jealous of other DJs, but it's enough business out here for everyone.
Yeah, I would say so. It
really is.
So when you look so many different avenues, and I don't want to run out of time here. So in what advice would you give up and coming DJs who are interested in entering the space?
Just, if you love it, just keep working at it. Just keep playing music and realize that the business aspect of it don't stop. When the music is shut off, when the music is off, your laptop is still open. You're organizing music. You're listening to songs, new songs that's coming out, up and coming. Where can you put them in your playlist?
Gotcha.
You're working on contracts, you're working on invoices, you're working on scheduling and things like that. So the business aspect of it, as soon as you shut down the music, that's when the real work really starts.
Okay.
You know, you have to, in order to get contracts and get gigs, you definitely have to turn off that music and go to work.
Gotcha.
Be a people person, be able to get out there and talk to people and network with other DJs and other venues, general managers of those venues, just to get those gigs and have them believe in you. I have several DJs that, you know, that came up in this business. They work with me and they have been DJing at venues for years now, venues that I would have never thought of going into, but me giving them that encouragement, them going out there just talking to people and realizing, hey, you know, you guys can increase your business if you just had some live music here.
Gotcha.
You know, let me come in and show you what I can bring.
Gotcha.
And from that point on, that manager, that owner of that bar or club, they realize, whoa, you're right.
Okay. I love hearing that. Okay. Yeah. Look at the businessman you are. You expanded that. I love that. And we know we would play some music here, but I'm not so sure it's going to come through. So let me ask this. You know, AI is projected to tap every aspect of life. You know, I have my own viewpoints on it, but you know, I'm not the expert. You are, and especially when I hear how you and I've seen you tap the energy of a crowd to keep it at a high level. What do you think the impact of AI is going to be in your space?
Well, AI is here and it's here to stay.
Okay.
So as far as a DJ's perspective, the way I look at it is AI can't take the gigs that I have because I engage with people. I don't think they're able to do that. AI can't look at a crowd and say, hey, this song is going to need to be played now. This announcement needs to be made now. I see somebody altercation. AI can't see that.
Gotcha.
And change the flow of the music immediately, grab a microphone, engage with that crowd and diffuse that situation. Yes, AI can say, this is the type of crowd that I'm playing for. Let me play this type of music for them. But what AI can't see is people walking off that dance floor because they're tired of that song.
Yeah.
Whereas I can, and I can change that song up and bring them right back.
Gotcha. I love that. I really love that. And, you know, so it's, you know, I'll say music has such a phenomenal impact. I think back to the pandemic when DJs were on Facebook or they were on Zoom and they had live, I think, a DJ Nice.
That was me. I was on live.
Okay, DJ Styles was doing it. You know, it has such an impact. What's the future? Do you see radio stations going away? And, you know, I read something today where it said that maybe we'll start seeing digital live concerts. And I thought, interesting, you know, where I thought they were talking about T-Pain. T-Pain was going to do a concert. And as opposed to going to the United Center, you would go to your computer and see him live. Now, I don't know if that works, but what do you see as the future of the DJ?
Well, I mean, that could possibly happen. I mean, there's times where I went to a concert and I realized I could have seen this from my house and been just as satisfied. So it can happen as far as that goes. But you know, the future, you know, it's all about convenience.
Yeah. Okay.
It's gonna go into us all about convenience and what if they're gonna create it. Some people may do it, or some people may say, "No, I'd rather see it live."
Yeah, and there's nothing like the crowd. There's nothing
nothing like the crowd. Nothing like the crowd. Like you said, I did the Facebook Live thing during COVID. Every weekend I was going live. People got to know me from there. I had people plugging in from different states. Old Navy buddies of mine started joining, started DJing from that because, they realized, hey, I don't have nothing else to do. Let me get into this. I love it. At least I think I do. And they jump into it. Had a good friend of mine, Michael Broomfield, DJ Broom from Colorado.
Okay.
He jumped into it. He jumped into DJing from me DJing live on during the COVID on Facebook. So it's doing a concert or doing it all online. There's DJs that DJ live online right now on Twitch, YouTube, and I follow all of those guys because, again, I love the art form and I like to support them as well.
Got it.
Doing events live, I've seen them in the DJ world try that, to do it live. But again, you can't read that crowd.
Okay. Now, is there a genre, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here, is there a genre that you don't like?
No.
Okay. You can appreciate it all.
I appreciate it all because there's room and there's people who love every type of music, from heavy metal to rock, alternative, country, Latin, amapiano, reggae, house music, hip hop, R&B. There's people who love all of that.
Okay.
So who am I to say, well, I'm not going to play that or I don't like it? Because they like it for a reason. So it's up to me as a DJ to find even a little bit of it that I'm interested in enough to be able to be creative with it and still give them that satisfaction.
Got you. And, kudos to you for, growing your business to such that you could step away for a moment and it could still thrive, which says a lot about you as a businessman. So, as we go into, we're out of the pandemic and we're moving now where AI is taking off. The future for party time entertainment, do you ever see yourself, going into, since you're out here talking to people, is there some dream you have where party time might be in the future? I mean, because you're not, like you said, you're not a young man anymore, but that doesn't mean that you can't bring young folks in to be in a certain place, such as, in the recording studio, I don't know. I'm just trying to give the listening public an idea of what you might see.
My whole dream in for the future for Party Time Entertainment is to keep training and playing music for people. I like that aspect of it. Again, you do all the behind the scenes stuff to go out there and put on a show.
Okay.
I like the show part of it. I like to perform for people and get their response because just like they feed off my energy, I feed off their energy.
Okay.
Even if I'm not doing it, I like to see other DJs doing it. I like to train them and build them up to a point where they're doing it.
Gotcha.
I don't go to parties. I don't party like that anymore. However, I will stop in and check on the DJ, support him, make sure he's good to go or whatever. And, give them that support and that love or whatever. And if they need ask me questions while I'm there, no problem. Gotcha. I'll do that. But then I'm out of there.
I hear you.
You know what I mean? I don't never want to be the old man in the club.
I hear you. So how do people reach you? We're getting towards the end, and I want to make sure that folks can engage you, hire someone from your crew. So how do people reach DJ Steve Styles?
My email is steve.dunning@hotmail.com. Phone number is 847-875-9617. You can call me, text me. My Facebook is Steve DJ Styles Dunning. My Instagram is DJ Styles 1. Just like that.
You put it all out there.
I put it all out there. I'm ready for all the smoke.
I hear you. Well, Steve, thank you. Go ahead.
No, I have a crew of DJs. We don't take every event because every event is not for us. But I'm open to work with anyone who wants to have an event and want to create that Super Bowl moment. And that, once again, like I said, timing is everything. Being there at the right time, playing for the right people.
And I bet you've done some fairly large events.
Yeah, I have. I've had DJs do larger.
Okay. That's good.
It's all in fun and continuing success to the DJs that work with me, DJs that's coming up. And I just love the fact that we can just build this together. And our only competition is ourselves.
Thanks for listening to The Next Big Thing. I'm your host, Keith D. Terry. If you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like to support this podcast, please share it with others. Post about it on social media or leave a rating and a review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on my YouTube channel at Keith D. Terry. If you want to recommend a guest, please email me at info@terryperformancegroup.com. This has been produced by your host and Jade Productions.